Dr. Kimbro, you have written 5 books. You have traveled the world, really learning the secrets of wealth, not just with Black people, but really all people around the world. But there was a time when you didn't feel so wealthy in spirit.
And I still feel that way when I get around my granddaughters, man.
Grandchildren humble you.
Oh, yes, they will. Yes, they will.
So, but you had a moment when you were kind of down bad. And you were in this ballroom with all these great minds and great people, including famous Amos, Wally Amos, of Famous Amos Cookies. And he gave you some words that stuck with you.
Yeah, and you really did your homework on that, because that was a time period I had finished what was the transcript of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, and I didn't know that it was going to be published. I mean, the universe threw it out there. And so W. Clement Stone, every year, the Napoleon Hill Foundation would have the gold medal dinner. And they would honor all the writers, all the speakers, all the, as you said, change agents, peak performers. And he said, Dennis, I'm gonna fly you out there. You really need to, be in this environment and everything. And here I am. And I'm saying, all right, I finished the manuscript. What in the world is going on? Hoping for my life to be normalized. And I was down because that 7-year period of writing that book, I was really living off my wife's earnings as an accountant. 3 small children, robbing Peter to pay Paul to go travel here, airlines, lodging, interview another person. And there I was, Og Mandino was there, Norman Vincent Peale, and Wally Amos. And after it was over with, everybody was, bum rushing Og Mandino and Wally Amos, and of course Norman Vincent Peale. So I waited my turn where I could get one-on-one with Wally, sort of an event where I could bare my soul, brothers talking to brothers and the like. And he just looked at me and he just gave me so many key points. He said, number 1, young man, raise your level of vision. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are.
Yeah.
Okay? If you and I stood on railroad tracks and we looked down the train tracks, and you would say, gee, Dennis, looks like the tracks are coming together, but the tracks never come together. Otherwise, the train would fall off the tracks. Yeah. All right, so let's go down to Atlanta or whatever, or down to Florida, and look out across the Atlantic Ocean. And you might say, gee, it looks like the sky and the water meet. Well, the sky and the water never meet. Otherwise, there's no such thing as gravity. Those are 2 instances of your physical eye lying to you. You started this off with a prayer. Okay, we speak to God through prayer. God speaks to us through intuition and our imagination. And the biblical verse, do you believe in God? Yes, of course I believe in God. Well, the other part of that verse is, well, believe in me also. So, Brandi, who is the other voice, the me also? Well, that's your imagination. And what he was trying to tell me, whatever thoughts, whatever visions you have in your mind, keep in front of your mind. And young man, all the good will come to you.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing. And so he gave me so many different tidbits of what he discovered over the course of his life. But it all goes back to what Wally said about the self-concept. Do you believe in yourself? I tell my students, I'm probably one of the few individuals who, all right, so I had a presentation a couple of decades ago, Sony Columbia Records. That was the first label that Beyonce signed, okay? And they told me stories about Beyonce. They flew me down. There was their annual strategic planning and the like. And they flew me down to give a, hour and a half presentation. And I got a chance to meet these individuals. And when they shared the story that when Beyonce was age 13, 8 years old, she didn't believe. She doubted herself, okay? Now hold on to that picture for a second. One of the last interviews I had was with Bonnie Sledge, Sister Sledge, okay? And we were in Arizona, and she told me that, okay, you got 4 sisters, Sister Sledge, and all 4 of them got college degrees from Temple, And they had a name for themselves in the Far East, but they didn't have traction here in the United States. And they wanted to elevate and raise their brand and blah, 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 and they just couldn't crack it. They got to the point that they said, enough of this. If we don't hit it soon, we're going to use these college degrees going to corporate and blah, 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 and forget about our dream until the songwriter, Niles Rodgers, wrote, We Are Family specifically for them. So when they got the music, they went to the manager. She told me they went to the manager, and the manager said, no, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. But they had a feeling in their spirit, no, we're going to, as you know, it became their anthem.
Yeah.
Okay? Fast forward the videotape another 10 years, and there I am with 3 of the 4 women of En Vogue. And I asked them, I said, so what was it like coming through the ranks and blah, blah, blah? And what did one of them tell me? Man, we didn't know if we were going to make it or not, but all we knew, we wanted to be just like Sister Sledge.
Wow.
And when they told me, Sony Columbia Records told me that Beyonce, when she launched Destiny's Child, they wanted to be just like En Vogue. So what is the common chord? Believe in yourself when no one else will.
Yeah, absolutely.
When no one else will. Now, that might be an easy charge, but I don't know. One of the things that I do, okay, so here we are, we're about midterms, and I didn't do it this year, but I've done it a number of years. First day of class, I don't hand out my syllabus. I really want to take measurement. I really want to find out who's in my class. So what do, Brandi? Or what I did in the past, on every chair, on every desk, I would have an index card and a number 2 pencil, and I wouldn't say a word. So the students would come in expecting, okay, I'm gonna deliver the syllabus and we're gonna go over it and everything. But I didn't do it. I just sat there and I just wanted to see what would be the response. So finally, after about 10 or 15 minutes, Dr. Kimbro, what's with this card? Blah, blah. Oh, that index card? I want you to write your story. What do you mean, write the story? I want you to write the story why you won't finish Clark Atlanta in 4 years or why you will. Because whatever story you put on that card will be the same one way or another. How come you dropped out after a year? Well, my father was an alcoholic and my mother, she got hooked up in drugs. Okay, next student. Man, your father was an alcoholic and your mother was drugs? How did you graduate with all that pressure? Well, I didn't want to, to be like my parents.
Yeah.
Whatever story you place on that card is going to be the same story, one or the other. So that was the precursor that everything that we talked about, but it all could be resonated about belief. About belief. So, yeah, that was, you rewinded that, man. You blew the dust off that with Wally Amos. And, that was really a difficult time because, man, driving out here, I lost 2 cars in the process. I was more than 5 months behind on my mortgage. Neighbors were laughing at me, said, man, this guy got a college degree, man, blah, 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 this, that, and everything. And it just resonated with me. And another interesting point, right after that gold medal dinner, I thought my life would be normalized. Okay, I'd finished the manuscript, and I was going to go back into corporate America. I was in corporate America for 12 years, and Brandi, the last 3 years, I was in consulting. So I threw my resume out there, and I got an offer from, when you look at consultants at that time, Arthur Anderson, Accenture wasn't there, but Arthur D. Little, and of course, McKinsey and Company. Those were the top 3. And, A.T. Kearney. And I got an offer with A.T. Kearney in the New York office. And I said, well, it looks like, I'm going up to New York and I'll be coming home on the weekends and blah, blah, blah. And they extended the offer at the salary that I requested. And then after they extended the offer, the next day I got a phone call from one of the managing partners. They said, Dennis, in our haste to hire you, we forgot, one small item. I know it's not going to be a big problem, but all of our candidates got to go through this, and I knew exactly what he was leading to. Got to perform a credit check. So they performed the credit check. The next day they called and rescinded the offer.
Wow.
And
What year is this? And they doing credit checks, Dr. Kimbro.
And I fainted on my bedroom floor. I mean, I really collapsed. And after I came to, and I told my wife, she came home from work. Back then, my youngest daughter, she was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, Mackenzie. And when you believe and you get rid of doubt and you get rid of fear and you become certain in uncertain times. And I went downstairs and I told my family, I said, let's go in the living room. And we all gathered in the living room, my 3 daughters, and they said, what are we going to do? And I said, let's all hold hands and make a circle. So they didn't know what I was leading to, and we all held hands and we made a circle in the living room. And my daughter said, okay, well, why are we doing this? This is crazy. And I said, no, there's a purpose to this. And Mackenzie said, I'll never forget, Dad, what are we looking for? And I said, I want you to just look around. Look at everything in this living room. Look at everything that you can look in the other rooms. Just hold hands. And I said, come on, Dad, what are you doing? No, I said, I want you to take a good look, because this is the basement floor. You will never see it again in life. Brandi, shortly after that, Harvey McKay called me. He wanted to see my manuscript. I sent it to him. His agent became my agent. They threw it out to the top 12 publishing houses. And just to bid on the book, just to be in the room to bid on the book was 6 figures. And they were going back and forth, and my agent was calling me, such and such bid this, such and such bid that, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. But that was a high water mark, and I look back and I am so grateful that I experienced that. And the reason why, because so many people come to you and they say, oh man, I'm going through this and I'm going through that. That gave me validation that these principles work.
Yeah.
Gives me validation. I don't care if you've been broke, I've been broker. I don't care if you've been broker, I've been brokest. All you do. How do you get to Mount Olympus? You make sure every step you take is towards Mount Olympus. And that was all through Wally Amos and the time that we had together.
Hey, Vault family, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, make sure to check out our full interview on our channel at Vault Empowers Talks. We don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential leaders and change makers. Don't forget to like, to comment, and be sure to subscribe for more inspiring conversations. See you next time.